better bet. So probably most of you remember exactly what happened, and the fact that we didn't score at the end of the game, and time ran out, and fans started booing, and it was quite the scene. But then there was a flag on the field. The ref said Tennessee had 13 players on the field, so LSU got another opportunity to have an untimed down at the 1-yard line. Stephen Ridley scored. We won the game. Well, I'm excited. I get on Facebook. I'm posting, final score, Tigers win, to borrow a phrase from our radio announcer, Jim Hawthorne. And lo and behold, the comments are absolutely awful. Everyone is crushing LSU. Fans left and right are just coming on to bash the team, bash Coach Miles. On Twitter, it's even worse. Because Twitter, you're getting fans from Alabama and everywhere else saying, oh my gosh, LSU sucks, this, that, and the other. And it really just blew me away, like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? So what I ended up having to do was start responding to people. And that was difficult because I was starting to get mad. And it's pretty easy when you get mad to want to tell somebody off, especially when you get to hide behind admin and it says LSU football instead of your name. But I didn't do that. I decided to hold back and really not put myself in a hole before I even had gotten started. So the interesting thing is, the next game after Tennessee ended up being one of Coach Miles' classic wins, where it was at Florida, and the final score was 33-29 LSU. And it was the game where our punter, Derek Helton, flipped the ball over his head. It actually hit the field, and our kicker, Josh Jasper, grabbed it and barely got the first down. We ended up throwing a touchdown with 6 seconds left to win. And the interesting thing is, after the game, first of all, never one to let criticism or fan outrage bother him. Coach Miles said something that I'll never forget. After that game, he got into his press conference and he said, they didn't like us too much when we were 5-0. Hopefully they'll like us a little better at 6-0. And I thought that was pretty interesting because they did. 1 week, and all the criticism and all the hatred that came from not just LSU fans, of course, but fans all over the country who despise LSU, turned around. Everybody was praising. Everybody was excited. And it made me realize, man, if I had done what I was originally thinking of doing after that game and just starting just banning people and ripping left and right, we won the game, people, that wouldn't have been so good. Because now, here we are, 6-0, and perception has changed. And everyone's saying, man, okay, this team's got that it factor. They don't know how to lose. It ended up being a great season. We beat Alabama at home, 24-21. Then beat A&M in the Cotton Bowl. And I never forgot that lesson of how hard that day was, where I was up till 3 or 4 in the morning, staying on the Facebook page, following our fans' comments and trying my best not to lose my cool. But anyway, that was the first experience for me of on-the-field crisis, and how that's just how it goes in athletics. Fortunately, at LSU, we have more ups than we do downs, but that was certainly a down, even though we won the game, and that's still one of the craziest things I can remember. Just to give you another example, this time of off-the-field crisis. A lot of you might remember August 10th, 2012, so just a little more than a year ago, our office was able to prepare this time. We knew what was coming. Tyrann Mathieu was going to be dismissed from the team, and my boss, Michael Bynett, who runs the sports information office and has just recently been promoted to the head of communications for the entire athletic department, he spoke to Coach Miles about it, and they worked together to decide that they should have a media gathering at noon that day. Fall camp had just started. We were only a week in. So we were going to have a media gathering at noon that day at the LSU team room to discuss it and announce it to the media and to the public. So that morning, my boss notified myself and Bill Martin, who also works with football in the sports information office, that was going to happen. And, we were immediately bummed out, not just because we were losing a great player, but working with Tyrann for his first 2 years. He was an unbelievable person. He was so nice, one of the best people to work with. And he was always eager to do interviews and do whatever we needed him to do. So it was disappointing, but we knew we had a job to do. So Michael began drafting the press release, my boss. The LSUsports.net webmaster, LSUsports.net, the official website of LSU Athletics, just in case you didn't know. Our webmaster, Todd Police, created a private link on the website that he gave to me as the social media guy. So I created it to a short link and got everything ready to go. We had a story ready to go. All we needed was quotes from Coach Miles, and then we were going to be able to put it up as soon as he gave the word at the press conference. So as soon as he did, I hit tweet, I hit post, and I knew exactly what was coming. A lot of laughter from other fan bases, a lot of criticism and applause from media, and a lot of desperation and upset Tiger fans, understandably so. When we released that information, that's all we could do with that situation. We couldn't give further details. We couldn't say anything else. That's just the nature of how it is in our business. The media can speculate, they can go on, they can try to dig and find answers. But what we have to do is push on. And in that situation, that's exactly what we did. So the very next day after he was dismissed, we decided to take matters in our own hands as far as what we were going to talk about. So on social media, again, sorry, I want to talk a lot about social media because I deal with it every day, all day, and it's awesome. So the very next day, we pushed Fan Day. We wanted our fans to know, here are the details for Fan Day. In a way, we had held back on releasing that information just because we knew what could happen, and yes, it did end up happening the day before with Tyron. So we released the information. We want you to come out. We want you here at LSU to celebrate with our team because they want you here. Fans want you here. I mean, the players want the fans here. We want you to come out and celebrate this upcoming season with us. And while it didn't take away from people's frustration and anger, it did start to begin to make them realize we still have a team here. We still have goals. We still have an opportunity to have a really good season. So what we were trying to do, obviously, is take that crisis, put it out to the public like we had to do with the information we could provide, and then move on and let people know, hey, we're still a good team, and we're still excited about our prospects this year and what we can do. And so the day after that, after the Fan Day, it was our first scrimmage of fall camp. And so it was a great opportunity to have Coach Miles speak to the media again and really push the team and what we were doing, how we looked, and really get the focus back on football and the things that were important to Coach in that instance. So that's just another example of something off the field that has played, that we've had to understand and deal with during my time with LSU. As a social media coordinator for LSU Athletics, I understand the world we live in, and I know you do too, because now it's a world where media and people want answers. They want it right away. They want responses. They want information, and they want it now, or they want it yesterday. And it's not as people in the sports industry, we're not always able to give that to them right away. Or when a fan asks, hey, how's so-and-so's injury looking? We can't always give that reply as Bree's starting to learn. I don't know if Bree Turner's going to point you out there. She's been awesome so far. She's interning in our office and is doing a great job helping me with social media, so that's great. But anyway, as she's starting to see, working behind the scenes with football, that fans ask a lot of questions, and a lot of times we can't give them the answer, even though we may know it. But social media, as fun as it is, comes with those challenges, especially on Twitter, where so many of our athletes in every sport, not just football, are using it to communicate and interact. So I know this isn't necessarily delving directly into crisis, but I want to just bring up a few talking points that I just want to bring up a few general guidelines about Twitter that I presented to the football team. And I want to present it to you just to let you know what I think is important about social media from everyone's perspective, not just for a student athlete, but just want to let you know what I told them. One of the talking points I was presented with earlier this week asked if I could share about how our office attempts to help student athletes manage their social presence, their brand. And so this is what I use to speak to the football team. I meet with the players each year in the summer and in the fall, really to harp on how important it is, because there's been too many instances in the past where players, mainly players, and sometimes coaches, have abused social media and have harmed themselves and their team because of that. So I just wanted to go over these 5. I made it easy, left it at 5 general guidelines so the players would have a lot less to remember. The first thing, think before you tweet. Now, I know you've probably all heard that, and I really let it sink in with those guys. After you compose a tweet, but before you send it, would I be comfortable saying this in front of my parents, my grandmother, or someone I love? The answer is no. Delete it before you send it. I think that's the kind of thing that can help prevent a crisis, prevent something awful from happening that is totally unnecessary. Number two, stay positive. That's obviously easy for us a lot of times. I'm sure many of you in here are aspiring PR professionals, so one of the things you want to do is be positive. You want to put your best foot forward in everything that you do. And when you're representing an organization or a team, you obviously want to make sure everyone knows that you're excited and that that team is being positive. And it's important that these student athletes do as well. It's important that you as well try to stay positive because of one of the next points I'm going to get to, which is build your brand. For the football players, I looked at it as this. It's an opportunity for you to present yourself in a positive manner for both the public, NFL teams, general managers, and media and fans. Keep in mind, people will form opinions of you about what you tweet, so give them a reason to have a good opinion. This next point is huge, and the reason why is because everyone abuses it. Twitter is not texting. Twitter is a great forum for sharing your thoughts, but please don't go overboard, and a lot of times they do. The amount of subtweets I see from our players drives me insane, and yeah, so I just hope that you all would take that into consideration as well. And the last point, media read what you tweet. So whatever you tweet, it's gonna be read, and it's gonna be processed, and then it may end up in the newspaper or online or on SportsCenter. So obviously think about that, and don't forget that future employers may go back and check what you are sending out. The reason why I wanted to give you those points was obviously just to give you a little behind the scenes of what I do, not just myself, but Bill Martin and Michael Bonnet when we three speak with the football team each year. And the reason why is crisis management. I mean, we want to avoid it. So the best way to do it is to get these guys prepared and to make sure we're constantly looking after them, monitoring them, which is something that I do every day, is go through their tweets from the night before and cringe sometimes. But for the most part, our guys are great, and they understand their role and they understand how important it is. I believe I said this earlier, but I just want to emphasize that one of the things I've learned in athletics is there's always ups and there's always downs. It's just the nature of athletics. You don't always win, but I'm fortunate enough to work here, and you're fortunate enough to attend a university that has strong athletic programs. We win more than we lose. So with that experience, what do I like to do? I like to use that winning, and use those ups to get the fans excited and to build hype. To spread the positive points to the media as well as to fans, and generate buzz. There's nothing more fun than before a season starts than just putting out a fun graphic. Do any of you follow at LSU F-Ball or like the LSU football page on Facebook? Okay. Did any of you notice during the summer and the fall we put up graphics at all caps at 4 weeks or 2 weeks trying to, yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do, build up hype, because everybody starts the season undefeated. Everybody opens up with a lot of positivity and a lot of hope for a great year. And so why not take advantage of that? So obviously, again, I'm directing everything towards sports because that's my profession. That's what I've been in for 7 years now. But at the same time, I believe you can take that and use it for whatever you're going to go into moving forward. People love to get excited about things. They love to have that positive attitude. And if you can direct them in that way, a lot of times they'll definitely want to follow. So again, hype can be such a fun tool to use when the season gets closer. Oh yeah, I already said that last point. Sorry about that. Okay. Talked about the ups. So when the downs hit, you know, when you have a situation where you win a game and it's crazy and everyone thinks you should have lost, or something negative happens and an All-American and Heisman finalist has to be removed, or something else happens at a bar one night, you have to you have to know it's important to maintain internal communication. That's huge. Obviously, when you're dealing with a crisis, everyone involved in communicating with the public has to be on the same page. No matter how big or how small your organization or your group is. And again, that's something I think we do a great job of at LSU, is my boss Michael and myself, being the social media person, we really talk a lot, make sure we're on the same page and know, hey, when do you want to put something out? When do you don't? How do you want to word the message? How should we not? And it's key. It's going to be key for the future as well, especially as social media continues to grow and new channels for social media grow each year and pop up each year. The way it works for us in the athletic department, the way we handle it is my boss will, if something pops up like it did just last week, and we found out Sports Illustrated was going to release something, my boss goes and speaks to our athletics director, Joe Leva, and we talk to Coach Miles, or he talks to Coach Miles, and they figure out how they want to handle it, how we want to approach this. And a lot of times, you can panic. And I'm not going to sit here, I'm not going to try to, so please don't tweet this part, I'm not going to try to necessarily hate on this other school, but this week, or I should say yesterday, a story came out involving 5 players from the SEC over the past few years who the evidence shows have been paid or have had some illegal benefits while they were at school, including a couple from Alabama. And Coach Saban had a press conference about 45 minutes after that story came out.